to welcome to Jackie's Learning Corner. I am Jackie, and it's time for a bookish update. But also on a more personal note, I finally got COVID. It finally happened. It was inevitable. Luckily, it happened after our trip, and I was still able to go to London. Which I'm guessing that it happened I probably got it from someone on the plane or something. But it's weird because it feels just like a regular cold. So, and I'm supposed to go into work today, and I'd call them and say I tested positive, and I almost feel guilty because I feel fine, just congested, and I have that tickle in my throat, although it's not as strong right now, but that could just be because of the medicine. But I tested positive, so, and that's the second time I took the test because I took it the day before and it was negative. And then, I told my mom my congestion feels worse, and she was like, oh, that's how it was with me. It just felt like a cold, and then I tested positive, and so she decided to test me again, and I'm positive, so I had to call work. Now, I don't know how long, my mom works at the hospital, so she has to stay, so when when she got it, for the people who work at the hospital, they have to stay 5 or 6 days. So I don't know for my work if it's going to be if they require the same amount. All they told me was to keep them posted on what was going on with me. But I think I'm gonna call them, or my mom will call them for me. Like I said, the fact that it feels like a cold though feels like I can still do stuff. I just have to stay in my room all day for however many days. But at least I can do this, make a film a video for you guys, and keep you posted on my reading. And I could still read, and I'm not just sitting. I don't feel so crappy that there was one time where I got so sick that I couldn't do anything. I just watched TV, and even and that was before COVID. And I ended up binging all these Hallmark, the Hallmark Channel. And then I think after that, I just got tired of Hallmark movies. I think because I watched so many of the Christmas movies for several days. And I started the faults of Hallmark movies, the cheesiness and the predictability and the cliche, sentimental, wholesome aspects of those movies. I got fed up with them. Because now I can't, I'll still watch them sometimes, but I can't watch them all the time. But anyway, so yeah, that's how it's going with me personally. As far as reading goes, I did come back to reading, Anne Rice's The Witching Hour, and I didn't read that much, because I don't get a lot of reading time at work during my break. I might only get through a couple pages. So I'm at the part where Michael is reading about the Mayfair family, and I'm still reading the part with, where we meet Peter Von Abel and his encounter with Deborah Mayfair. And this is kind of more in the Dark Ages, I think. And her mom was the one who first brought this devil-like figure, Lasher, as they call him, into their family's life, into the Mayfair, the lives of the Mayfair witches. And Peter's having some lustful feelings for Deborah. He's desiring her, and she is willing to throw herself at him because he was the only person who showed her kindness and saved her, and he's resisted the urge to go after her in an inappropriate way. So she feels a kinship to him, so she's willing to throw herself at him, but he's reluctant because she's still, she's a child to him, she's still younger than him, and he's the one to take advantage of her. He's a monk, and he's a good guy. So, which makes me wonder if he's going to be the father of her child. Because we know she's going to have a kid, probably. She's going to probably have a daughter. And continue the family line, the Mayfair family line. But so yeah, that's where I am right now, reading about Deborah and everything and her. So not like I said, I didn't get very far. I did decide to start reading this collection of novellas, the Mosa P.G. Woodhouse. The first story is, let me look at the table, The Drones Club. I'm reading the chapter on fate, which is 26 pages. Or, well, probably a little less than that because it starts on page 9. I don't have really much to talk about right now because I was falling asleep at the time. So I don't remember much. I might have to reread that part the little bit, but so I don't really have a lot to talk about. I think it was like these people that are referred to this group that are talking about this person. Is it Freddie? I think the guy's name is. They're talking about this guy named Freddie in his previous relationship, and the people are referred to as like Crumpet and let me see, Crumpet. Yeah, Freddy is the guy that they're talking about. And Bean, Egg. You know, all these food. The ones that are talking are all referred to as food, which I don't know if that's supposed to be like a. I don't know if I'm supposed to take that literally, or is it supposed to be like a metaphor or something like. I mean, I'm not very good at that kind of stuff. Like, that's why it's hard for me to read humor sometimes when it's purposely meant to be funny, because I'm just not very good at it. Like, I do better when it comes to watching it in a movie or a TV show, and then I get the humor then. But when it comes to reading a book, like, it's hard for me to read books that are supposed to be straight up funny, because then I'm like, am I supposed, like, I'm trying to figure out, is this a literal, are they literally these things, or is this, you know, a metaphor, or, you know, are they supposed to represent something? I feel dumb about it. I feel silly that I can't get it, you know. I take things very literally. I mean, I understand metaphor, and I understand, like, similes and all that, but, you know, when it's written as a humor thing, I just, like, that's why I don't know if I could, like, I think that's why the Confederacy of Dunces, I just couldn't get into it, and I was more annoyed with the main character than, I mean, there were times I thought it was kind of amusing, but most of the time I was more pissed at the main character, Ignatius, than really getting it and appreciating the story. Like, I tried it. I mean, I think if there was an adaptation of Confederacy of Dunces, then I would probably be more amused by it. But I still want to read this, of course. This is not me giving up already, you know. I'm just still trying to, you know, figure out how I'm supposed to take it. Like, and I just already, like, feel dumb that I don't get it. Like, I don't know how I'm supposed to respond to it. But anyway, yeah, so I read a little bit of this, but I didn't get very far, so like I said, I don't have a lot to talk about. I just know that these entities, I'm just gonna call them entities, because I don't know if they're supposed to be literal people, or there are these actual pieces of food, talking about this person. I mean, maybe they're fretting in the food on Freddy's plate, you know, maybe that's what they're supposed to be, like. But I think, like, maybe that's supposed to be the humor of this. I don't know, maybe. I mean, you don't want to explain it to me, because I know explaining something to someone that's supposed to be humorous is kind of ruins it a little bit. So, you don't have to explain. If anyone, you know, understands this, then you don't have to explain if you don't want to. But, you know, and please don't sound too condescending if someone did choose to explain to me. Please be nice about it and polite and not condescending. But yeah, because sometimes I do feel like whenever you say you don't understand something, people might actually feel like they should take the initiative to explain it to you. So if anyone knows. So I did do, that's where I am like reading right now. I did do a video on my trip to London. I did like a London haul video where I talk about, things I bought. I didn't buy a lot, which that reminds me, I do have to send my friend and my Larissa that asked for a picture of my tote bags. So I'll have to send those to her. I'll have to take a picture of those because I did buy some tote bags. Because that was the least expensive thing I could buy, and it's something that I did like and did want to have. But it was something that it wasn't like there's no point in me buying like a keychain or a magnet or something because I have no use for those, and I don't know how to. I am not good at putting keychains on, and I don't have a key. I don't have a bag to put keychains on, so there's no sense of me buying keychains. I don't really care about them anyway. So, and I don't need another notebook or anything like that. I'm not very good at keeping journals anyway, and I don't need like t-shirts or sweatshirts or anything like that. Or so tote bag was the best option because I get to use those all the time, and I do want to collect more tote bags because I really like them, and I like the idea of having them to carry stuff in. Like when I go on trips and stuff. Like I really, my sister had a tote bag for her kids' books, and my nephews and niece, the books that they bring with them when they visit us or go somewhere else. So I kind of like that idea of having that. And I had two from before. I don't remember where I got them and how I got them. I just always had them for the longest time. These two tote bags. One that had one was a gift from a friend. A tote bag with a fairy on it, which I'm guessing that's maybe the actual gift was in the tote bag. It was black with a purple fairy on it, and I love using it. I don't know where it is. It's somewhere in my box, my basket of stuff. And then I had a Harry Potter one. Another Harry Potter one. I think it's Harry Potter. And then I bought this Harry Potter bag at the Warner Brothers studio tour. So I got that one. So I got one there, and then I got one, and then I got the Waterstones bag because I went to Waterstones. I finally went, which I was so happy about going. It was so cool. I mean, it had 5 floors and everything, and like I said in that video, I visited most of the floors except for the last 2 because they didn't have anything I was interested on those floors. And it was just so cool to finally go to that store that I've heard so much about because, I do watch a lot of booktubers from the UK, and they always talk about Waterstones, or they talk about some of the other, Folio Society, I think it's called, or I can't remember. There's a few other bookstores that are mentioned that are more smaller scale than, because Waterstones is their big flagship store, the main UK bookstore, like Barnes & Noble or Books A Million. And then they have all these small independent bookstores. And there was one in Bath that I wanted to go to so bad, but I already bought the books 2 books at Waterstones, and, I'm trying to have a better handle on my spending when it comes to books. So, and I already got a book before I got there anyway. I got a book at the airport because there was a bookstore in the airport, and we had to wait a few hours. And I think because we had to wait, my mom was like, go ahead, just buy a book. Since we're going to have to wait around anyway, so if there is one, you may as well buy one. So, but that was, I already showed you guys these if you watched my London haul, but that was this Ink Blood Sisters Scribe. The premise of this one just sounds so up my alley. It was these 2 sisters who protect their family's library, and one of the sisters comes across a magic book that was not there before, and just the idea of a magical library and, books with magic in them that, dangerous magic and all that, and accidentally releasing something that just seems so me and up my alley, and I just hadn't brought around to buying it because I kept getting distracted by other books. So I finally went ahead and bought it. And plus, my mom was concerned that if I got a heavier book, then it would be too much for me to carry. So she was recommending I get something lighter and not as dense as the book the book I bought before I left, which is the third book in the Dandelion Dynasty series. That's a chunk of a book. The Veiled Throne, I think it is. And I bought that before we left at my dad's. My dad did a book event where he was talking about his two books, Sage Among the Pines and I'm sorry, I am drawing a blank on his other book. I mean, in my defense, like I said, I have COVID. I'm sick. I have COVID, so my brain is still a little fuzzy. But yeah, so, and it was at a bookstore, so my mom was like, are you gonna buy a book or what? So I ended up buying that book, because that's the only bookstore where I've seen all 4 books from that series, because even the Books A Million only has the first book. The Books A Million that's close to me. So I better take advantage of this. And surprisingly, my uncle surprised me while I was gone, and he bought the 4th book from that series. So now I have all 4 books. So I feel like I should get to that series soon, because my uncle got me all the books, and I kind of told him while we were talking that, I always have the problem with series where I have to buy them one at a time. I can't buy all books in the series, and then sometimes I get sidetracked by other books. So, and this is a series, and I think is this going to be a series? I don't know. I hope it's not. Because that's the problem with series is if I read the first book and then it's a year or longer before the next book comes out, then I might move on and forget about it. But so yeah, I got this at the airport, and then the books I bought, which, like I said, you probably have seen these already if you watched my London book haul. But yeah, these are the other 2 books I bought. Vanity Fair, because I love these English Penguin English Penguin Library editions. I love these. And I used to have hard times in this edition, but I didn't love it as much. I was kind of disappointed by hard times. Part of me wants to give it another shot and reread the book and get another copy of it. I did see it there, but I've been wanting to reread this, and I just don't love those Arcturus editions as much anymore as I used to. I only bought those editions because they were the ones they were available to me, because Books A Million is the bookstore that's close to me, and it was the only, and it was not super expensive to buy those editions. So I got, so I ended up, so that's why we get those. And they're cute, nothing's inherently wrong with them. I just like these better. But yeah, I've been meaning to get to this one. And of course, being in London I was like, I should take the opportunity and buy these editions. Buy at least one. Because I love the UK covers. And coincidentally, I just found out that Caroline Marie Reeds is also going to England soon, by the end of September. So, I was just watching her video, and she just mentioned that in one of her videos. It's a video that's a few days old. I want to buy something from her Etsy shop, but then I don't know what to buy because, like I said, I have so many of my own bookmarks, and then I don't have room for those the author portraits that she makes on my wall. They're small, and I could buy them on, put them beside. I have a, wall space near my bookshelves, which would be perfect to put those author portraits if I ever bought them. So I don't know. I want to buy something from her, but yeah, I just found out that she's going to she's going on her going to England as well, and she, like me, loves the UK covers. I mean, I think most of us love the UK covers over ours, but there are some versions of ours that I like. I said this also in that haul, that there are some of them, like Naomi Novak's like Uproot and Spinning Silver. I prefer those covers over the UK covers. So I knew I had to buy at least one book, and then, I couldn't decide, so I decided to narrow it down to at least two. And my mom said I could get, was like, all right, fine, you can get two. So there's that one, and then the other one I got was the Dragonbone Chair from the first book in the Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn book series. And I've heard from a lot of the booktubers who read fantasy books. They always talk about this series and how great Tad Williams is. He's one of those older authors, so there's probably going to be aspects of it as a female reader that I'm not going to entirely love. And there's probably going to be some cliche aspects of this, that are very familiar, because I've been reading fantasy for a while, and, I didn't grow up reading Lord of the Rings. But yeah, and this is nice. This is large print. I really appreciate that. I mean, that's the thing. That's another one of the aspects of these bigger size books that I like. Like, the problem with those mass markets is the minuscule print, because they're physically smaller. So there's this minuscule print to them. So it's not that I get a headache or anything, but I don't like reading those all the time. Plus, I'm worried about losing the book or whatever, but anyway. So, yeah. But yeah, I've already talked about this stuff anyway. On my London haul. So, but I don't know what else to tell you, But really, I don't have a lot to talk about with you guys. Because, I haven't done a lot of reading since I've got back. Because, I had all day on when the day after we had got back, I had all day, but I didn't read all day. I just, I almost forgot. I do have a little bit more to talk about, which is that I did read The Fall by Ryan Cahill, which is the prequel book to Bound and the Broken series, which kind of, introduces how the world ended up the way it is in the first book, and kind of introduces who I'm guessing is the antagonist, the overall evil force. Kind of explains that out, introduces that plot and everything, and why the world is the way it is. And so it was good. I gave it 4 stars when I rated it on Goodreads, and it was I still have to do my review for that though. I might not even write a summary. I might just review it. I always feel like I have to write a summary, but there's always a description of what the plot is about on Goodreads. And I think there is also they're the same thing with Storygraph. There is still a description of what the book is about, so I probably don't really have to always write a summary, but I feel like, to be formal and stick to, how I write it, I feel like I should. But there's not really a plot. It's just a kind of setting up things. It's not an actual plot. So I don't know, I could sum up what it's about in one sentence, which I guess I could do that. But, anyway. So I read that. But, of course, on our trip, we didn't do a lot of reading. I didn't get to really do a lot of reading. And, being on the plane for several hours, it's hard for me, I try to read, but then I end up it's not comfortable. I mean, at least I didn't get queasy or anything. At least I didn't get sick on the plane. I mean, obviously now I think I probably got this from the plane, but I didn't get sick or anything, I mean, although on the way back, because I chose to eat a sub sandwich, I started feeling all bloaty and uncomfortable, so I couldn't do much of anything, and I was trying not to go to the bathroom on the plane, because the second flight we took was a lot shorter than the first. Than the flight to London and from London is longer than the flight from, where we were in the States back to where we live. That's a shorter flight. So I was trying to not go to bed and not make my dad get up a million times. And, I felt so uncomfortable though. So I ended up spending the whole time playing trivia. There was a trivia game you could play, and then there was movies. And on the way there, on the way to London, I watched 3 movies. And on the way back from London to the United States, I rewatched one of the movies I watched to London again, and then I just tried to. Although I cannot stand those earbuds that you have to put in your ear. It irritates my ears. I can't stand those. But it's the way I can watch the movies. And so I didn't get a lot of reading done. And then when I, got home from the day's activities while in London, I was just really tired, so I didn't get very far in my reading. But I did finish the prologue story, The Fall, and then I started reading of Blood and Fire or Fire and Blood. I can never remember what the title is. I started reading that, so I didn't get very far. I got to chapter 8. Well, chapter 8 I got to when I got home, so I gotta say, it does give me vibes of Robert Jordan's The Eye of the World a little bit. Now here's the thing, what really bugs me is that when a book feels similar to another older fantasy, like people compare The Eye of the World to Tolkien's Lord of the Rings, and if you would actually read past The Eye of the World, you would realize that Robert Jordan's Wheel of Time series does its own thing. Yes, it uses some of the tropes that Tolkien started, but it does its own thing if you would actually read after The Eye of the World. But people all of a sudden are when they read Eye of the World and it feels similar to Lord of the Rings, it's oh, they copied off of Tolkien, they stole from Tolkien, or they plagiarized Tolkien. And it's so stupid, because if you would actually read beyond The Eye of the World, you would realize it's its own story. It does its own thing. Yes, it uses similar tropes, but a lot of fantasy does that. In fantasy, it's hard to be completely original. You might be as original as you can be, but most people, the most original you can be would probably be, instead of doing the European type story for your fantasy world, you could do Asian inspired or Middle Eastern inspired stories. That's the most original you can get with fantasy. Fantasy has a lot of tropes anyway, so if you do an Eastern, world, a Asian or Middle Eastern world, then that's definitely going to be really different. And eventually that will get cliche and predictable, and people will see it as, they'll start accusing people who copying off of other people as well when that gets to that point. So yeah, which I've thought about doing because I'm a quarter Filipino, I have thought about doing a fantasy story that takes place that is inspired by the Philippine Islands. But I would have to do a lot of research. And that, that's if I ever actually write a book. But as some people, said, if I'm not writing and I'm not writing every day and stuff like that, and if I don't feel motivated, that means I don't want it enough. So I guess I don't. But it's something I have thought about doing. Anyway, so But yeah, it does feel there's a similar feel to Eye of the World in Blood and Fire, Fire and Blood. Like I said, I don't remember what the title is. But yeah, I really like the characters. I'm definitely really enjoying the characters, and one of the differences between Eye of the World is that there's actually a bully character in the story. Like, our main characters are being bullied by these other boys in the story. They have that aspect in there. And oh my god, I can't stand that kid. Oh, which you're not supposed to like him. Obviously, because he's a bully, and he's a little shit that you just want to, just cannot stand him. Anyway, but yeah, so I'm probably gonna read a little bit. I feel like I should probably read a little bit more today. Definitely take advantage of the fact that I'm on quarantine now, and at least I can read. So, anyway, I hope you guys are enjoying your reading. I hope none of you have COVID or have any sickness whatsoever. And I hope you all are enjoying your reading. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Click subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bell notification button if you want to be notified when I post my videos. And I hope you, like I said, I hope you all are enjoying your reading and not sick. And I will talk to you all later. All right, bye.